Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Within the Scope. My name is Alexandre Acharau Maia, and today we'll have the pleasure to talk with three individuals. Let's start by the CEO and co-founders of NORD Esports. His name is Michel, followed up by Nile, a legendary top player at NLC grounds. And then last but not least, we'll head on to the support, Romeo, a guy who just doesn't know how to stay on his lane. Without further ado, let's jump into it. So to start the conversation with Nord, might as well go to the source of Nord, co-founder, CEO, Michel. Tell me a little bit about you so everybody understands who you are, not only the players, but the coaches. Like, who are you?
Yeah, I'm Misha, as you already said. I founded NORD now nearly 1.5 years ago, together with my co-founder Pena. And since then, we are leading the esports team and we are doing everything in regards of the esports section. I myself have a passion for esports since I'm 16 years old. I was like a semi-professional player and then later on manager in some teams, and I've always loved to watch esports and everything in that regard. And yeah, building my own organization was always my dream. And now at NORD, we are looking to build an organization that is set on fundamental values, like especially mental health, mental well-being of the players, everything in that regard. And we try to always catch the new upcoming talents, or maybe also talents that have been overlooked in other ERLs or other leagues, and make them, very good players through very good coaching staff and a professional environment. Yeah.
There is a lot to talk about what you just said. So many things, but one that I highlighted was the fact that you are so young. You already built an organization. We know what Nord is, but what is Nord to you? What does it mean to you?
I mean, I would say NORD is for me an experience. I think that describes it very well because I think it's like, first of all, my passion, right? What I always wanted to do, what brings me a lot of joy. But it's something where I'm really developing my skill set every day and where I'm growing and where I'm getting better at what I'm doing. And where I can also learn stuff which you can probably don't learn in university or in school or stuff like this. And for me, it's like basically my baby, right? Like something that I've built from scratch and something that I want to make very, very big. And yeah, I mean, that's what it means for me.
And I love the idea that you said we're bringing up the talents, scouting the talents. It's like you invest in a region, and it looks like it's not that easy to invest in a region like NLC. There's so many languages, so many countries. It's the northern region, yes, but there's so much to pick from. So how do you handle that?
Yeah, I mean, speaking, you told me to speak super freely and
Yeah.
openly, right? I think I can say for every organization out there that is participating in the NLC, that it's like a minus business, right? It's basically an investment and you are not getting much of a return, right? So you are always spending more money than what you're getting out of it, right? And you need to be aware of that when you enter it, because the asset itself is not so strong that you can sell it at the moment, which is a big issue, right? So for us, it's more like being in the NLC is more like a promotion or a marketing activity for the rest of the stuff that we are doing. And therefore, we are looking to use this opportunity to do something good, right? To make it change within the esports, within the esports world, and then hopefully work on growing the NLC to a sequence where it comes profitable or where it comes reliable for all of the organizations within that. And our way of doing that was always to look for young talent and to bring young talent into the scene, develop them, and then afterwards bring them to bigger clubs. For example, last summer split, the players that we had there afterwards played in LVP, in LFL, and yeah, I think two in LVP, one in LFL actually. And I think there's like how we should approach this because NLC itself is not super interesting, right? Like we don't have huge viewer numbers. We don't have the highest caliber, right? Like if you want to watch the highest caliber, you watch LFL or you watch LVP or LEC maybe even. But what we can produce or what we can provide is like young talents where basically people are watching our league to scout, okay, who might be the next upcoming talent, right? Like which one of those players will be picked up by one of the top clubs next season, right? And we basically want to drive that narrative. And this is basically what we want to bring to the NLC grow it and to also grow the audience and to grow the overall spectrum.
And it's not like you only have the team itself. You always work for the community. You always try to bring something into the community to try and build up a community. Not only the team that you're building, but also the community. What would be your advice to other organizations? Because you said something really interesting and really special due to the fact that we're going through the road that we're going right now. I think everybody understands that you're working to build up something, not instantly sell it, not instantly gain profit from it. So what would you advise other people to look into? Hey, it's not going to be easy to get the money back. It's a long-term investment. What would be your advice?
Well, I mean, that's a big question, right? I mean, I'm not sure if I'm in the position to advise all of the other org owners and everything like this. I think it's just important to first of all acknowledge, okay, this is an investment. You cannot expect direct return, right? You cannot be like, oh, I spent 50,000 euros now this year, and next year I get 100,000 euros out of it or something. That's not how it works, right? So you need to have a long-term strategy in place. And you need to basically have other assets on the side, which you can basically promote through having a top tier team in NLC or stuff like this. And you need to understand that all of this is a long term investment, as you said, into the future, right? Like the money we are spending now is a gamble of the idea that we believe in NLC and that we believe that at some point the NLC will be an asset that is very valuable. And then we want to be there as the ones that have been there all the time, that have been there since the beginning, and that are known for always being in top 3 or top 2, as we have been now for the past 2 years. And basically have an established community and an established name within the scene. And I mean, it makes things a lot easier. And of course, you also need to do that in the content department and build your community throughout. And even if you only maybe gain like 1 or 2 followers or 1 or 2 active members, active Discord members or something like this per week, that's still a success, right? And you can build slowly, but you need to have a long breath, I would say. I don't know. In Germany, we say it like that. Einen langen Atem haben. But you need to have a long breath because NLC is not there yet. It will hopefully be, but it will not be within the next months. But it might be in 2 or 3 years. So if you enter or if you are in there, you need to be able to endure this situation and be aware. Okay, I need to stay confident. I need to stay improving until my investment gives me a return.
Michel, tell me something. I've heard that sentence for a long time, ever since 2022, the idea that NLC is not there yet, but eventually, a lot of people keep saying that. In your vision, on your mind, what do you believe it's necessary or required for NLC to get to the point that people believe NLC will get to? Because I do believe we have a lot of potential, but we're just not making it there.
Yeah, 100% true. Yeah, I mean, it's 100% true. I mean, we've seen it a little bit when you were on the desk as well, right? When Freaks4U was taking over and they invested a lot of money, right? The viewer numbers we had, the quality of the broadcast, everything like this was really, really nice, right? And we've also seen like the viewer numbers rising incredibly, and also the organization being able to push in more money, right? In general, the NLC is a very difficult market, so it's hard to say, okay, this is the fix to do it. But I think what would be a very nice start is, for example, and that's a wild idea, right? But what you could do is that you combine it a little bit more offline, right? The NLC as a region is the only region where you have so many different countries within one league, right? This should give us the opportunity to do a lot more offline stuff in each country, right? Like, for example, that you have like an open tour where the players or the teams are traveling around, for example, and they are playing in gaming arenas in each country, right? This would already give like a huge publicity effect towards the league and would make us something really special, as well as, for example, maybe discussing a rule of that we are really becoming an LEC or top ERL development league, right? That we are saying, okay, good, we are all together as organizations focusing on young upcoming talent, and that we only have 1 or 2 veterans or something per roster, right? To really do that. And I mean, those are just 2 approaches. I think there's a lot of ways to fix that, but I'm also like, I always love to think about disadvantages in the terms of, or like, and turn them around into an advantage, right? And one of the biggest disadvantage people talk about is that the NLC has so many different countries, so many different communities, and it's harder to find sponsors because you have local markets and everything like this, right? But this at the on another point is also an advantage, right? Because we are so much more diverse. We have so much more markets that we could access, right? And I think this like open tour where players basically travel around and play in different countries with different fan bases and have different stadiums or different gaming cafes would be already like a great usage of this advantage.
I like the idea, and at least betting on new players. It seems like everybody's trying to do that, and we're finding a lot of good players. And well, Nord is one of the teams that is doing that. So congratulations on that one for Summer Split. If you had to pick, like, if you had to guess, what would be the place your team will end at the end of Summer 24? Just a
Yeah,
wild
I mean,
guess.
I can say I cannot say anything else than first, right? That's the expectations. I mean, since I've joined the NLC, I think it's now 4 years ago. I have never finished less than third, I believe. So I have a lot of third places. I have a lot of second places, but I have not a single first place. So yeah, I mean, it's really time for me to get the trophy, and every time, every new split, I believe in it, and I also believe 100% this time. And I'm sure that we will win it. And I actually think that our odds now are much better than in the previous splits because I think comparable, at least on paper, right? How it turns out, always different. But on paper and with the coaching stuff we have and the development the guys are going through, I think we are the favorites for first place this split as well.
I like the way you see it. Let's see if it ends up like you said it. But let's talk to your players as well, Romeo and Nile. I'll see you soon. Heading on to one of the most famous top laners at NLC, it's Nile from NORD. Welcome to the interview. It's a pleasure to have you outside of NLC grounds, but for NLC at the same time. How are you doing, Nile?
Yeah, hi, doing pretty good.
I know you're a man of few words, so this is going to be really interesting because I have a lot to talk to you. You've been playing League for a long, long time. If I'm not mistaken, you're 23. You're from Finland, and I want to go back. I really want to go back. You even played for Big. I was studying you. You played for Big, and you played for previous teams as well. When did you start?
I mean, League I started playing season 3, so 2013, I guess. And then competitive, I started around season 5, just playing like Finnish tournaments and LANs and stuff like that. And then season 7, 2017 was like my first real team, I would say, in Germany.
And how did you start? What was that tasteful thing that hooked you into competitive League of Legends? Do you remember what made
Mm,
you start playing competitively?
I mean, I'm a really competitive guy and always liked I played like team sports when I was younger, and competing has always been like really fun for me. So even in league, when I got like into higher elo, then I kind of felt like it would be nice to compete as well.
What did you play back then? Before the esports, what did you play? What sort of sports?
Uh, I played football for around 7 years, something like that. Then I played volleyball. Then I played ice hockey. Ice hockey was like my main sport.
Oh, that's really interesting. See, I never knew that one, so I already found out something interesting. But when I look into your history, you've been part of NLC for a long, long time. What is your pleasure in playing NLC, and how do you see the league from back then until now?
Uh, yeah, I think I played in the first ever NLC split that was. I don't remember which year it was, but back then competition, at least in the first split, wasn't that high. So competition has gotten better, and yeah, it's been
A
a lot
long
of
one.
splits in NLC.
And you've been playing on the top lane for a long time. Is there any top lane that you recall back and you're like, man, I really enjoyed playing versus this individual? Is there any player that you recall and you really had fun playing him, or even a little bit nervous playing versus him?
You mean in NLC or
In
in general?
And NLC. Let's go for an NLC on this one.
I mean, Shikari was always like a fun challenge for me to play against because I mean he's kind of complete opposite player of me. He's like really solid, like kind of more weak side player. Like he doesn't really make a lot of mistakes, and it's kind of hard to punish him. So getting a lead into him was usually kind of hard. So it was enjoyable playing against him, I think.
So what you're saying is that you believe you're like a more, how would you say, unleashed person. So you go for more kills. Sometimes you lose control while online. You think you're more of a feisty player on the top lane, nearly.
I mean, I think when I play, like, I always look to get a lead on lane. Like, I always play for leads, and he just kind of plays to not give any leads, and
Yeah.
it's really hard to get a lead against him. So
I remember
it's a
sometimes when I
challenge.
watched your duels, I was like, yeah, Neely really wants to do something, but that guy just doesn't get out of the tower. He's always going back. That was an interesting one. So tell me something. What is your aspiring goal with so many years of League of Legends? What is your end goal? What is your idea? LEC or moving out of the region? What is your goal right now?
I mean, the goal has always been like to play in higher leagues, like as high as I can play.
Mm.
But I had some splits in like higher tier leagues maybe, but they didn't work out so well. So I've been kinda just playing NLC and trying to win and go further and show myself again.
You touch a really specific topic, the idea that you're playing on this league, but you want to go for higher, better leagues, or in terms of quality of gameplay, you want to go a little bit higher to other leagues, maybe like LFL or LVP. What do you believe is separating NLC from getting to that skill level like LFL? I'm not talking about sponsors or stuff like that, but as a player, when you look into the other teams, what do you believe is lacking right now for the competition to be a little bit higher?
Mm. I mean, I'm not sure actually. It's kind of hard to say. Uh, I mean, I feel like the players overall like are just individually kind of on a better level. Uh, so also the team plays better. So uh, I don't know what to say to that.
From
But
spring split 2024 spring split to summer split, almost all teams changed their entire roster. Like there's a massive change on pretty much every single team. Even your team, you got 3 new players. You stuck with Romeo. Before we move on, how do you feel about playing with Romeo for summer split? Like all the 3 players just moved out of the team, but you got Romeo. What's that feeling like? Oh man, if I could, I would pick another person. Or how do you feel about that?
no, I mean it's fun to play with him again. Like I mean, I like his aggressive playstyle, and it's nice to have some like that in the team. Because I'm also like, I won't say I'm like the best at like playing, like the main engage, and I'm going first. I'm looking for the engages, so he's really good at finding those. So it kind of works well with me as well.
So you have someone that you can trust. Now you have 3 new players, and they're still building up that experience, the competitive experience. When you look into this new team, let's call it new team from North for Summer Split, do you feel like you have to be the voice of reason because of all the experience you've built up? Or do you believe they're also stepping in, even with their solo queueness built in them, they're also providing some sort of knowledge competitive wise? How is the team flow going right now, and how do you feel your role is on the team?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about it myself as well. Like, I kind of, I kind of have like the most experience in the team, but I don't feel like I'm really that kind of person to like, teach others, and I'm not, that's not my greatest strength. But yeah, I mean, I've still like used my knowledge I've gained over the years, I guess, in the like reviews how we want to do stuff in certain situations and stuff like that. So yeah, I guess I do some of that.
So let's look into you right now as a player. I was looking into your champion pool through the years, and I noticed like Jax, Irelia as well. She's always being nerfed. It doesn't matter if Cassandra is OP or not. Irelia needs to be nerf banned. What is your champion that you really like to play? If it's not competitive, like on solo queue, what is your favorite champion to play on top lane? Please don't say ranged. Please don't say Vayne.
I mean, Irelia is probably my all-time favorite champ. Like I used to, when I first hit Master Tier, I was one-tricking Aurelia back in the day, but that was also old Aurelia before the rework. But
Oh.
I really enjoyed the new Aurelia as well. Like I put a lot of games on her, but yeah, she's not really usually viable in pro play in top lane at least. So not many chances to pick her.
Now for Summer Split, this should be my last question for you, Nila, is looking at your team and looking out, the entire NLC ecosystem is rebuilt. A lot of new players and rookies and teams reconstructing themselves. When you look at the end goal of Summer Split, what do you believe is going to be your position for the team, Nord?
I mean,
I know you gotta say first, but I'm just putting it out there. I don't know.
yeah, I mean, I would say first. I would say first place. Yeah, I think it will be maybe a slight disappointment if you don't get first place. I would say.
It's
So
looking like that split, right? That specific
yeah,
split. I see
yeah,
where you're going. I see where you're going. Thank you so much for your time, Nila. It's a pleasure to talk to you, and best of luck for Summer Split. Have a lovely one.
yeah. Thanks for having me.
The man who doesn't know when to stay on his lane. It is the one and only Romeo. How you doing? Pleasure to see you again. And
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
no, thank you for accepting this, because now we can go to the nitty gritty. We need to talk about a lot of things. You're one of the remaining members of NORD roster. But you were like a
Yeah.
rookie last split, at least for Nord. But now you're the voice of reason. How do you feel all of a sudden going from, hey, I'm just the beginning on this team, and now, hey, kids, listen to me. I'm the papi.
I wouldn't say the voice of reason. I think my coach would disagree with you. I think I'm very like bloody type of player. I think it kind of showed in my spring split that I like to go for those like clutch engages, flashy plays. Sometimes they didn't pan out, but yeah, that's kind of my style, right? Uh, it's definitely been a challenge this split to transition more into like a leader of shot calling. Last split, Warzy helped me a lot, as well as Merps, because they were very much experienced players. This split, I mean, even though Hunt and Ecstasy have been playing in ERLs for a while, they have, I mean, they're not the shot calling types. Alex shot calls a bit, but he's a rookie. He only has like one split under his belt at like a decent level, right? So yeah, it's about finding a balance, and I'm trying to achieve that throughout the split, learning as we go in scrims and officials. So it might be a bit scrappy at first, but I think that by the end of the split, we will be like a very dynamic and aggressive team, because that's how I like to play, right? Very
Isn't that
hands-on,
like
bloody.
heavy on your mind when you look into Valorant? Let's call Valorant. You have the in-game leader, and if he's the one doing the scoping with the operator, doing the scoping, doing the shot calling, doing all those things. I know you're a support player, but you're also a big roamer. Now looking into the team itself, trying to get the shot calls, getting that experience, and getting the voice. Isn't that really taxing, especially on official days?
Yeah, that's something I'm trying to work on, because I feel like these two first days, I mean, I played lane pretty good, I think. However, in like mid game, I would be missing like some mechanical stuff that I probably wouldn't have missed in spring. Like, I mean, I was playing Nautilus, for example, so I would be missing like easy hooks on walls to go to lane, for example, or like on my movement around the map, which is stuff that I should not be missing at this level, I think. But it's always because I'm permanently looking at, constantly looking at map, my mates, how they're moving. And sometimes I over micromanage, which is not a good thing, and it's something I'm trying to get rid of, and trusting more of my teammates to be on the same page as me without me telling them exactly what I want them to do. So yeah, it's definitely been challenging, but I think that I've been slowly progressing and improving on that aspect.
Yeah, we only had 1 week so far, so obviously this is going to be a long road for you. And talking about long
sure.
roads, I've been taking a peek at your Leaguepedia, and if I'm not mistaken, Cimeria Futuroscope, is that it? Is that where you started? You still remember
Yeah,
that?
that was a while back. So I don't even remember what year that was in. I was playing LFL3 for a couple of years with like friends while I was doing my studies. But it was more like I was playing solo queue with friends, right? And we had these tournaments every month where you would like compete as a 5-man roster, which was fun. But I had like no aspiration to like play professionally. Especially because back then I was playing on MacBook Pro, so I had like 30 to 20 FPS in late game fights, which was a bit rough, not gonna lie. And then yeah, I think like maybe two years ago, I bought a gaming PC for the first time, and I like climbed maybe 600 LP in solo queue. And I got like noticed by some LFL3 like top teams, and yeah, that's kind of how I started. I didn't think I would go past LFL3. Sadly, some IRL things like so on the side, I am also very competitive in sports. I used
Yeah.
to compete nationally in triathlon when I was younger. So sports has always been like a big part of my life and competition as a whole. And yeah, so I got injured twice. So I had the ankle surgery a year and a half ago, and then in January I had knee surgery because I tore my ACL. So the fact that I couldn't do any sports kind of pushed me to be more competitive in something. And
Yeah.
well, League was there, right? So I spent a lot of time playing League, and I improved quite a bit. So that's kind of how I got into NLC this split. Initially, I kind of wanted to go into LFL2, but sadly, there were no spots for me because I'm a bit on the older side of the spectrum, and some teams didn't really want to take the risk of recruiting more older player. Right?
So that's a lot because the
Yeah, I shared a
injuries.
lot.
No,
But
no, I love this. I love the fact that
I
we're
think
talking about
everything.
open. But those injuries, those are heavy. Like knee injury in the ACL,
Yeah,
that is a heavy
I mean
one.
no. So it was ankle surgery. So I twisted my ankle really bad, and they had to open it up. I had like maybe 6 to 9 months of physical therapy, and it was doing well until this January, where I tore my ACL. So I got surgery in March, and now I'm doing the physical therapy all over again. So I can't do much sports until September. So yeah, I'm taking the time to spend more time practicing League. So yeah, I mean it's not that bad. Without
Yeah.
those injuries, I probably wouldn't have uh, pursued League as much as I did this split or these two splits.
You were kind of promoted to esports by
Yeah,
life.
exactly. Exactly.
So when you started, you told me that you were playing with a few friends of yours and you were playing like a team, not a team, but a group.
I mean, we were getting stomped by the top LFL3 teams. Like it was not fun, but we had like scrims against like I don't know 200 LP players. Yeah, and we would play every month, like 5 or 6 games. I don't know if you know how the LFL3 scene works, but it's kind of
Did
a
you start
crazy
with
shit fest.
them?
I'm sorry?
Did you start with them or did you start with other people or by yourself? League of Legends.
Oh no no no! League of Legends. I started with my. It's actually a funny story. My brother's exchange partner. So my brother, who's like a year and a half younger than me, he we had a German exchange student that came 2 months to our house
Yeah.
when I was I don't know in eighth grade I think. So I was like maybe 14, 13, and he was like addicted to League of Legends. And my brother spent a lot of time playing with him because I mean, he was his partner, so they had to do stuff together, and that's how he practiced his German. And I didn't want to be left out, so I started playing with them too. I hated it. but I wanted to improve my German, so I kept playing, and then I don't know, after a year, and when I started to get to ranked, I kind of got really into it. Yeah, but that was years ago. I started playing season 2. I hit masters really early, like season 5, and then I stopped a couple years because of my studies. Yeah, and then I started again at the end of my studies because I had a bit more of free time. Yeah, and yeah, that's kind of how it went.
So when you look into the big picture, you started and you kind of hated it at first, but now it's part of your life. It's part
Yeah.
of your professional life as well. What is your end goal? Because you just told me, hey, LFL teams are now willing to take a risk. So do you think like big teams on LEC would be willing to take a risk for you? My question to you is, what is the goal?
That's also a very long story because
Oh.
so up until 10 days ago, I was actually working full time on the side of NORD. So I was working as a consultant in finance. So like long hours, and an intense job. But with my injuries, I got lucky, so to say. So I had some time off, like medical leave. So that's how I was able to play as much as I did with Nord. So it kind of coincided pretty nicely. But yeah, initially I was thinking about stopping league last year because I didn't have any like professional outcomes I think that I could have aspired for. Thankfully, I got Nord. It went pretty well, I think, even though we didn't make it to EU Masters. And then this splits, depending on how it goes. Yeah, I'm still quite open for next year. I think if I don't improve as a player and I can't get anything above what I could have gotten this year, I'll probably call it a day and enjoy the experience that I had in NLC with Nord. But the objective for next year is pretty clear for me. It's playing in Major ERL1, so hopefully LFL because I'm French. And I think that the French supports that are currently playing in the LFL are pretty good, but some of them are getting a bit like on the older side, as in they have had a lot of years of experience. And I think that, yeah, bringing someone new might be an option. So hopefully that's the end game for next year at least. That's what I'm striving for. I don't know about LEC. I don't like personally. I don't think that I have that kind of a ceiling.
Okay.
I think. I mean, I never would have thought that I had a chance to play in the LFL, right? And it's something that could potentially be in the cards. Like during the off season, my agent talked with some LFL teams, and they did not ghost him. So it means that I did something right. So yeah, maybe LFL next year. But yeah, to be honest, it's kind of wide open. Seeing as things go along.
Yeah, it's your mountain. You'll take step by step. And when you look into
Yeah.
that mountain you're climbing, I have one last question for you because it seems like this is Nord season. I know we just started. But it's looking good. Let's call it it's looking good. Do you believe this could be a Venom Crest curse as it happened in spring, where they were just ahead of everyone and then they caught up? Specifically about a jungler. We were just chatting about this previously, where they finally realized how we played. My question to you is, do you believe people will realize how you play? The roaming, the using the flash to burn the flash in the midlanders, but that means you don't have a flash. In the previous game, they kind of punished you for that. So is that a possibility that the curse is now searching for you?
Uh, I don't think so. I think that, I mean, for now, what we've shown in week 1 is that we can play a certain type of comp, and it gives us wins. I.e. the Jinx Maokai comp. I think it's like Jinx is kind of a competitive cheat code, at least in the early weeks, because the passive is like just giga broken, and people are not good enough to punish her in early game. But I think, yeah, I don't think the level in the NLC is good enough for us to be like really challenged. I'd say. I think the Venom Crest team is pretty solid. I think that they will be our main contenders.
Oh.
Uh, But apart from that, I don't see anyone like being like holistically as competitive as either us or Venom Crest. I think some teams have like some players that can maybe clutch games, but like as a whole, I don't think any rosters are that scary. Like for example, I think that Verdant has a really good ADC, X Drop. I mean, their bot lane as a whole, I think Komsky is not bad either. LLS, I think Sumi is pretty good, and they have some like wacky picks with AP bot laners. But yeah, I don't think many teams have like good, well-rounded rosters, as Venom Crest or Nord have, I think.
Lovely.
And on the style, game style part of things, I think that we showed we can play one style, but we can definitely play more. I have a lot of picks I want to bring out, but my coaches just tell me to pick Nautilus because that's just broken. I want to play some Ashes, some Pike. I want to play some Enchanters, but yeah, for now, sticking to Nautilus because it gives us free wins. And then when enemy is sick and tired of me playing it and getting the LP, they can ban it and I can play something else. But for now, yeah, Nautilus it is.
Keeping the cards up the sleeves. Thank you so much, Romeo. It was a pleasure to talk with you. And we'll see
No
how
worries.
it goes. Will it be Venom Crest or will it be Nord time? Thank you so much.
Thank you.